Well, is abortion always pro-choice? There's often an assumption that as long as you give someone the legal possibility of doing something, you are empowering them to make a choice. But we don't always recognize this in other contexts. There are many things that we make legally prohibited because we know that by opening the door to them, we are actually opening the door to exploitation and a lack of choice. Assisted suicide or euthanasia is one of the best examples. Now, no matter what view you might have on assisted suicide or euthanasia, there is still a clear agreement that legalizing it puts some people at risk of being coerced. This is the view of the large majority of palliative care doctors in the UK, who, even if in the minority of cases they support euthanasia being legal, they still admit that it could open the door to exploitation and actually reducing the choice that vulnerable people have. And so we see this reality in the case of abortion as well. There are a number of different studies from different contexts and different cultures showing that around 20 to 25% of abortions are coerced by other people, usually the male partner, but sometimes also the parents, sometimes the friends, sometimes the abortion providers or the doctors. And we see all of these in the UK as well. So we know that a significant minority of abortions are done in a way that coerces the woman and completely takes away her choice. Now, we know that this has got even worse during the era of pills by post or telemedicine, because in this case, a woman does not even see an abortion provider by herself. A woman simply phones up the abortion provider and often has a partner in the room with her, encouraging or forcing her to obtain the abortion pills and then to take them. There is no way of checking that she is alone and that this is really her decision. And so a recent poll commissioned by the BBC found that 15% of women had felt coerced and been given abortion pills without their consent. And that is a huge number of women, and that is a huge problem. So we know that a significant number of women are coerced into abortions in a very forthright and candid way. But we also know that many women are pressured into an abortion by soft pressure or by implicit pressure. We know, for example, that 3/4 of mothers in Scotland feel that they are discriminated against by their employers for becoming pregnant or for having a child. And when you have that sort of implicit pressure, that inevitably puts pressure on women to have an abortion that they may not want. In Ireland, soon after legalization of abortion there, we saw that pilots, female pilots who had become pregnant, were told by their employers that they should have an abortion or be prepared to lose their job. So this is not always a choice. But more than that, we know that abortion is often not an informed choice. I have met countless women who have told me that when they had an abortion, they were not told about the risks to their mental health, to their physical health, or otherwise. They were not told about the other options that were available to them. Now, a central fundamental principle of working in medicine, as I do, is that when you do an operation or a procedure on a patient, their consent is not valid unless it is properly informed. They have to know the risks, they have to know the alternatives. And we know that this is often not the case in abortion. In some cases, they are rarely told of the risks. We know that PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is a potential complication of abortion. And it is almost unheard of for a woman to actually be told that. So the large majority of abortions are not done with informed consent, and therefore, by definition, they are not done with consent at all. They are done against the woman's choice, or at least without the woman's choice, because they do not properly inform her about what the procedure involves and what the complications are. So in that sense, although legalizing abortion or making it widely available might seem to empower a woman's choice, when it's put into practice, we see that it is often the opposite, that it is a way of enforcing abortion upon women or pressuring vulnerable women who want to have a baby to have an abortion instead. And so in those ways, whether it's the majority of the women or a minority of women, we know that many thousands of women do not have an abortion by their own proper, valid choice. And that is a way in which abortion not only disempowers women, it actually actively exploits them and takes away their choice.